Hi, welcome to My Food is Made with Love. I'm Molly Rupert, and today we're going to be making a pasta that I came up with some time ago when I first started my vegan journey. It's really good. I use fettuccine noodles usually. I have used spiral noodles with my children. They really liked it. I also did the pasta on my Instagram page at My Food is Made with Love, but I've done some changes, tweak it a little bit, and I like it because it's a little heavier. It's a little creamy. It's not really a creamy pasta, but the thickness of the sauce, I've discovered a way to make it a little bit thicker to hang onto those noodles and not be so watery. I guess it wasn't really watery, but I guess that would be the adjective to use for that. Anyway, I hope you guys like it, and let's get right into it. It's really good, so I really hope that you enjoy this. All right, come on, let's go. I'm using 1 to 3 handfuls of chopped spinach. I'm using 10 to 15 sliced grape tomatoes, 2 to 3 handfuls of coarsely chopped portobello mushrooms, 1 peeled and chopped Italian squash, 8 minced cloves of garlic, 6 ounces of fettuccine noodles, although you can use any noodles that you would like. I'm using fettuccine for this dish. And I'm using a tablespoon of cornstarch, 1 teaspoon of dried basil, 1 teaspoon of dried oregano, 3 tablespoons of olive oil, 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast, a half cup of vegetable broth, and 3/4 cup of non-dairy milk. I'm using almond breeze, but you can use soy milk. I heard that that's creamier, but I'm using cornstarch to help it become a little thicker. I wanted to give you all a quick visual on how I cut my veggies. I rolled and sliced my baby spinach, and I coarsely chopped my portobello mushrooms. You don't really have to chop them, but I like the chunks as opposed to the whole slices. And my zucchini or my Italian squash is peeled, and I cut it into cubes, so still not too small, not too big, nice sizes. I sliced my tomatoes in half, and I minced my garlic. Okay, let's get right into it. We're going to heat up our pan and add 3 tablespoons of olive oil, generous tablespoons if you like. And you're going to let it heat up, and then you're going to add in your minced garlic. You're going to keep stirring your minced garlic because you don't want that garlic to brown. You just want to pull out the flavors of the garlic with the olive oil. We're going to add in our squash, and we're also going to just mix it around with the garlic, let it absorb some of that richness of that flavor. And we're making the sauce right now, so basically the squash will be our indicator when it's done because it's going to be translucent. All right, now we're going to add in our mushrooms, and we're going to just stir that into the mix. And all you're doing right now is kind of getting these vegetables to be a little tender, not too tender yet. We're just mixing it up, and we're going to start adding in our seasonings. I am using, again, 1 teaspoon of salt, but you can use 2 teaspoons of salt if you like more flavor. I am shying away from using too much seasoning myself for my own reasons. Okay, and then we are going to add in our teaspoon of dried oregano and our teaspoon of dried basil. Once we add our teaspoon of basil, we're going to stir it up, let it cook just a little bit for a couple of minutes. Then we're going to add our 3/4 cup of almond milk. Then we're going to add our 1/2 cup of vegetable broth and bring it to a simmer. Now that you brought it to a simmer, you're going to add in your cornstarch. You can add half a tablespoon at a time, whisk it around a little bit so that there are no clumps. Don't scrape your pan. You don't want to do that, just, right at the top, at the surface. Whisk it around. You're going to add your tablespoon or 2 of nutritional yeast. I think the more the better, but in the video I'm showing you that I did one, but you could do two. I would prefer two tablespoons of the nutritional yeast. It gives it a faint, subtle, cheesy flavor, but it brings something to the table that is, it's very unique. It tastes great. Then we're going to add our spinach. Also, you want to make sure that at this time your noodles are almost done being boiled. Add your tomatoes too. Yeah, you want to add your noodles. You're going to drain your noodles when it's like 2 minutes before they become al dente, so that they can cook in the sauce. They're going to cover your sauce, let it simmer, get your noodles together. So there goes your sauce right there. Now your noodles should be drained and ready to be transferred into the sauce, because you're going to cook it for like a few more minutes in there. So toss it in there. Make sure that everything is covered, because there's not a lot of liquid in there, but you still want to cook those noodles down. So get it all in there. And you're going to cook it for maybe like 5 to 6 more minutes. I like my noodles tender. So check your noodles, every couple of minutes to see if they're to your liking. But I like mine to be very tender. And you're going to cover it back up. So you can toss it around, get it in there, and then add the top to your pan and cover it up. Cook it for a few minutes. And voila, that's what you have. It's very delicious. So you're going to remove it from your heat, and that's the finished product. I'm going to show you what it looks like once I plated it, and you're going to enjoy it. I can smell it from here. Yummy. All right, and there you have it, the pasta fettuccine. It's really good. Like, share, subscribe, and comment if you've tried it, and tell me what you think.